Which Texans departure will hurt them the most? Nick Caserio speaks on the ones that left. Plus, could the alleged silliness of a division rival negatively impact the Texans in multiple ways? That and some heated moments in the locker room.
Yeah. Yeah. It's the locker room on YouTube. You know what it is. Let's get it. Hey. Locker room, yeah, we in the locker room. Texas talk, yeah, you know what we about to do. Localize, every angle's what we really do. We the source, we the pulse of the city too. Landlocked, got the game in the headlock.
All right, it is the locker room, number one source for Texans digital content. I'm Landry Locker. You can hear me Monday through Friday, 10 to 2 Central, Sports Radio 610, and the Odyssey app. Relatively quiet time for the Houston Texans, but I posed the question. Who will the Texans miss most when it comes to the free agents that they lost? I posed the question on Twitter at Landry Locker on Twitter, and let's just look at some of the answers that I received when I posed this question. This was the question. These were some of the answers. Steven Nelson, Nelson again, Rankins, Cam Johnston. I mean, you signed Townsend. That's interesting. Someone says none really. Nelson wasn't that good, but I still like him, talking about on the back end. Jonathan Grenard, Hunter is solid, but investing in a 29-year-old is always risky. Well, not when you give him a 2-year deal. Rankins, Rankins or Nelson, Singletary, Cashman, easy. Nelson, Cashman. So you're getting a lot of Steven Nelson. Let's dive into this. Let me know what you think and who you think the Texans will miss the most. For me, I don't think there's like a significant void with a lot of these guys who've left. And as good as Steven Nelson was in a 2-year window, I kind of feel like you got, and I could be wrong, and he's proven a lot of people wrong before. I kind of feel like you got everything you could have expected to have gotten from him. And I think with the current space that he appears to be in, I think he's developed the mindset that, you know, he's kind of Deion Sanders or something like that. There's still a chance that perhaps you get him on a bargain. And the reality is he's not gone yet. Unless I missed something while I was away taking care of the baby and everything. Steven Nelson, yeah, he's not gone yet. So we will see what goes down with Steven Nelson, but not gone yet. So I don't think we can count Steven Nelson just yet as one of the guys. Although cornerback, number 2 corner, is something that you need to keep an eye on, especially with Xavier Howard basically saying he wanted to be on the Texans and all the other stuff going on. He was on the OG podcast with Udonis Haslam. But I agree with Johnny. He's a goofball. He's a little much, but he played his ass off last year. I don't think you can take anything away from what Steven Nelson did last year. He came in there. I don't think they're in the playoffs without Steven Nelson's performance last year. I 100% believe that. And you got to give him credit. Did he wear down at the end of the season? Sure, but he was also battling his ass off and playing hurt for a large portion of it. So salute to him. But I kind of think that we're to the point where you got everything you can get. Now you got to find another Steven Nelson. How's the baby? The baby's good. The baby's developing a little bit of an attitude. And she's developing, she's starting to like to cuddle. So sleep is becoming a little bit more difficult, but the grind don't stop. Let's hear Nick Caserio talking about the departures. He was on Sports Radio 610. This is what Nick Caserio said, the GM of the Texans, about the guys who left.
I mean, great football players, great people. And, those are players that, we would have liked to have the opportunity to keep. We worked in a lot of those situations to try to keep them. In the end, it didn't work out, but certainly we're grateful for what they provided for our program. We have a great deal of respect for them. I mean, they worked hard. They were a big part of what we're doing. Their contributions were significant. So, I mean, honestly, you're happy for those players that they earned an opportunity, that they deserve what they received because of what they did on the field. Certainly wish those guys nothing but the best. Our job is to kind of keep it moving and just try to identify the right folks. Nothing but respect and admiration, appreciation for what they did last year. They helped us, win a championship, and nobody can take that away from them.
Yeah. Okay. Championship. Okay. Division title. Sound like B.O.B. Let's just go person by person and talk about how much they'll be missed. It is the Locker Room here on YouTube. You can hear me Monday through Friday, 10 to 2 Central, Sports Radio 610, and the Odyssey app. Jonathan Grenard, I look, the contract that Jonathan Grenard got, I think you just got to charge it to the game and salute him. I also think with what they've done on the edge with Daniil Hunter, they're bringing back Derek Barnett. That was some big news. Texans re-signed Derek Barnett, who I thought was a hell of an in-season pickup last year. Familiar with what they do. A lot of talent. Hell of a rotational guy. He had some really good games. The Tennessee game sticks out. Derek Barnett, very glad to have him back in the rotation. They got Danico Autry, who Nick Caserio called, what do you call him? A bad MFer? Bad MFer, badass junkyard dog, I think is what he said. What all did he say?
I would say specific to Danico, I mean, this guy's a badass. I mean, this guy's a junkyard dog. Like, if you go into a dark alley, like, you want this guy behind you. Like, this is a bad MFer. I mean, and a really good football player. Who cares?
All right. So, yeah, he likes him. I think you're fine on the edge replacing Grenard, especially with the point in which you're going to have to pay him. And I think the other thing that needs to be taken into account is Will Anderson's only going to get better. I mean, there's not a lot of absolutes. There's not a lot of guarantees. I would bet borderline my life, Will Anderson's only going to get better. And now that he has a little bit around him and he has other guys coming off the edge that you have to worry about, I think Will Anderson only gets better. So I don't think Jonathan Grenard will be that missed. He's appreciated, but missed. I think that you've done a good enough job of replacing those guys to where you're not too concerned about JG. Different strokes for different folks, though. But yeah, Caserio clearly likes it, and you can mix Autry in there. You can mix Barnett in there. You got a lot of guys that you can bring off of the edge. Blake Cashman, another guy that you lose, but you get Shire, and Nick Caserio likes Shire too. You've done a little bit of work in replacing him. I don't know that they're necessarily done at linebacker, and much like Cashman, much like Grenard, you have someone in that position group that has the arrow pointing up when it comes to better play being ahead, and that's Christian Harris. So I think you'll miss Cashman. I don't know if you can rely on Cashman being on the field consistent. That's been kind of a problem for him. And at the price and the money that he got in Minnesota, salute to him. Also, don't know that Blake Cashman was going to come back to Houston when he got the opportunity to go to Houston. So Blake Cashman, perhaps. Sheldon Rankins. A lot of people seem to be missing Sheldon Rankins and Malik Collins. I don't know what Sheldon Rankins will do. I don't know how he's going to be this point moving forward. I do know that there was kind of some hidden value to him and that these guys looked up to him. They gravitated to him in the locker room. I'm just not as worried about the interior D-line as a lot of people are. I think in the draft obviously will tell a lot, but I mean, they have a lot of bodies. Maybe some of those guys impress them, but I think when you have guys on the edge, those guys on the edge can make them better. Also, don't think they're done addressing the D-line. So Sheldon Rankins, once again, and this is kind of a theme, these players are getting priced out. Devin Singletary. Devin Singletary is a guy who, again, gave you more than you could expect, but this was an opportunity for him to be reunited with Brian Dable. This was an opportunity for him to go start. And furthermore, you upgraded at the starting running back position. In a perfect world, I would have loved for Joe Mixon to have been back with Devin Singletary, but that's not the case. They still probably need to bring in another running back, really in the same role that they brought Devin Singletary in a year ago to kind of spell Dameon Pierce. And hopefully they're able to hit on that like they did with Singletary. But I think you upgraded at that position. There's other guys. There's Malik Collins. There's Denzel Perriman. I don't consider too many of these guys significant losses just simply because I think they've done a good job of replacing them. But if I was to answer my own question, which departures will hurt the Texans the most, I would probably say right now, you probably got to go with Sheldon Rankins, although who knows what he has ahead of him. But my answer would be Sheldon Rankins. It is the locker room. Get the comments in. Probably going to be a little bit shorter because got a lot of stuff going on. Got to get ready for the show tomorrow, and we'll see how it goes. Yes, Denzel Perriman is a Charger. If y'all don't know, he's gone. In case you didn't know, Leroy Walker says you sound like a victim. I don't know. Is he talking to someone in the chat or this? I don't know what he's talking about. Leroy, if you'd love to elaborate, that would be cool. Sound like a victim. I think some people just take these words that they hear on Twitter or whatever when they turn on the TV and they misuse them. Victim. I don't know. Maybe he's talking to one of y'all. Have no idea what my man Leroy is talking about. Honestly, none of the players we lost truly stung. It was sad to see them go, but we either improved or had an obvious plan in the draft to fill our spots of need. And that's the other thing that I think is encouraging. Like when you look at these players that left, and I didn't mention Cam Johnston because I think Tommy Townsend's the same caliber guy. If they had to settle for a punter, then I think Cam Johnston would be up there, and life without him kind of sucked. But I think Tommy Townsend is the same caliber guy. But I think the most encouraging thing that we can say is Leroy was talking about Fuego. Okay. Much love, my friend. I didn't know. Didn't matter either way. But I think the most encouraging thing about these guys leaving is a year ago, did you see any chance in hell that Jonathan Grenard was going to get the contract that he got? Did you see any chance that Blake Cashman was going to be making close to $10 million a year to play linebacker? We didn't even know if he was going to be on the defense. Quite honestly, we didn't know how many snaps he was going to play. Did you see Sheldon Rankins when they signed him to a 1-year, $11 million deal? Did you see Sheldon Rankins going and getting the deal that he got in Cincinnati? That's the most encouraging thing is that this organization, this coaching staff, this front office, they seem to develop talent. So we might see them bring in some guys and not really see them playing to the caliber. Devin Singletary, did you see Devin Singletary going to the Giants and getting the deal that he got? I mean, he was brought here to back up Dameon Pierce, who had one good year, one injury-riddled rookie year. Buffalo got rid of him. So all these guys that they're losing, as much as last season was fun and as much as because you had gone so long with bad football, you kind of gravitate to these guys. Like, think about it. These guys weren't these guys before they got in that building and they were able to showcase their skills. And we see it all around the league. It's kind of new to us, but you're going to lose good players every year, especially if you're a good organization. It's going to happen all the time. You're going to have to churn the roster. Can't fall in love with your guys too much. But I think that's the most encouraging thing when we look at these guys and we talk about these guys. And it's not to minimize what these guys did and the contributions that they made, but I think that these guys are kind of a symbol, if we go back 365 days, of an organization that knows what the hell they're doing. Leroy says he thinks Hunter was the best free agency pickup. No doubt. Appreciate comment, Leroy. But yeah, we got plenty of time, and I agree with Brandon. They need to draft a backup tight end for blocking. I actually think they need to start focusing on the offense, because I think there's a serious chase and we got some other news on Nick Caserio, as well as a question about a move that could negatively impact the Texans. But I think if the Texans don't add multiple pieces, perhaps in all areas, from wide receiver to running back to tight end, then I think they're doing a disservice to CJ Stroud. I think they have to improve in that area. And I don't think we can assume that the best is yet to come. I don't think we should rely on CJ Stroud to save all butts. I think we should get him some more weapons. And that was something, and they seem to agree, because we saw what happened over the weekend with Keenan Allen, where they attempted to get him and they attempted to give him an extension. Not everyone agrees with that kind of. Earlier today on In the Loop Sports Radio 610, which you can watch here on YouTube, Twitch, there's a guy named AAA, Angry Aggravated Andy, and he calls in just to argue. That's kind of his thing. It was funny. It got a little heated. I'm going to be watching this for the first time with y'all. It's funny because he initially agreed and then he kind of disagreed. I don't know how this is going to look, but this is the hilarity of AAA Angry Aggravated Andy earlier today talking about weapons on Sports Radio 610. Andy might not agree. Andy, you're on In the Loop. Go ahead.
Yeah,
Lopez is already
when
left.
you say you're setting up C.J. Stroud for disappointment if they don't do anything, which I believe they are. I believe they get a third-rounder wide receiver. That's false.
Okay.
Because their top three wide receivers last year, Nico, Tank, and Noah, missed a combined 35 games.
Okay.
And normally injuries kind of work itself out in the NFL.
What does that mean? Injuries work themselves out in the NFL? Like, this kind of stuff gets sprinkled in. I don't know what that means. Injuries work themselves out so they don't happen? Kind of confused by that.
They were the most injured team in the NFL last year.
Okay.
More than likely, that's not going to happen again this year.
More than likely, you said?
Yeah, it usually works that way.
So Nico Collins has missed 13 games in 3 years. You were calling and talking about how injury-prone Saquon was. Nico Collins has missed 13 games. And last year he actually missed more. You could count the Jets because he left early. Tank Dell's played one season. He missed 8 games. Noah Brown, the Cowboys let Noah Brown go. And I actually think you got everything you could expect out of Noah Brown. We love Noah Brown. I'm fine with Noah Brown being back. Noah Brown last year for 3 weeks, a 3-week stretch, he was one of the best receivers in football.
2 week stretch.
Yeah, well, it was one and then blank and then one. But over
2 weeks,
over a 3-week stretch, you had that. So you think that's going to happen again? Is that so? You're saying that we should just count on Nico Collins, who had the most healthy season of his career. By the way, he was banged up in college too. Tank Dell, who missed 8 games, and Noah Brown, you think you're fine at wide receiver there. And the crazy thing is he agrees and starts the call with, I think they need weapons. They need help. Just, you don't need to worry about it.
Okay, guess what? They got a whole lot better in the receiving core when they got Mixon. Now listen to this. If CJ Stroud plays 17 games, in the 2 games he missed, how
many ifs is this? Because I'm drunk off. I'm drunk off your ifs. I'm just saying I'm drunk off your ifs, Andy. Like, this is a lot of ifs.
Finish?
I don't know. Can you make a point?
Yes, if you would shut up.
Oh,
if CJ Stroud throws what he averaged in 15 games, the other 2 games, they lead the league in receiving yards.
Andy, you are way too smart to be so dumb.
Do you think that's wrong?
No, but I think it's a lot of ifs, and there's always going to be ifs. There's always going to be a lot of ifs. If Mark Andrews had been healthy the whole season for the Ravens, who knows what happens? If J.J. Dobbins didn't tear his Achilles, if Joe Burrow didn't get hurt, if T. Higgins weren't banged up, if Jamar Chase weren't banged up, like, come on, Andy, like, you're throwing out a lot of ifs. So do you agree or not? Do they need to? Are you just calling in to argue so that your old ass can get your grumpiness off your chest, or do you agree that they need to focus on offense? Because you're talking out of both ends. You say, I think you think they need to add weapons, but then you're throwing
all these ifs at me.
No, I'm telling you that they did pretty damn
So
well.
do they? Okay, no kidding, no kidding. But you're assuming that the best is yet to come. I'm just asking you. Do you think they need to add pieces on offense or not? Because you said you did, and then you said they didn't. I'm just asking, like, where do you stand?
No,
do you want to just argue to argue? You want to play devil's advocate? The sky's blue. Go ahead, Andy. Argue with me and tell me it's brown. Go ahead, just play devil's advocate. Go ahead.
Your statement was wrong.
It's not a statement. It's an opinion. I think they need to add weapons.
Your opinion was wrong.
I think they need to add weapons. I think that they can't assume that the best is yet to come. They agree with me, Andy. What did they try to do this weekend? What did they try to do this weekend? They tried to trade for Keenan Allen, right?
Yeah, because it came up. He's got a 1-year deal. It was a perfect.
No, they were going to give him an extension. So they agree with me on Keenan. I'm just asking you. I know you like to argue and play devil's advocate. Do you think they need to add offensive weapons or not? That's all I'm asking you. Yes or no?
Yes, but that ain't my point.
There we go. There we go.
We agree.
But what you said is your opinion was wrong because of what they did this year in the receiving.
How is the opinion wrong? If I think they need to add weapons, what's the what opinion was wrong? Be specific. What opinion was wrong?
Let me ask you something.
No, just answer my question. What opinion was wrong? My opinion is clear. I think they need to add offensive weapons. They seem to agree with me. They seem to agree with me based on what they did this weekend.
Your opinion was if they run it back, it's not going to be good. That's what your opinion was.
Yeah, that's an opinion. They should add weapons.
Yeah,
they
and
agree.
I don't agree with that
but
opinion
they agree.
because this year said it was good enough this year. So aren't players normally get better?
It was good enough this year. So
Trevor Lawrence didn't get worse. Like players don't get worse.
It's not a year-to-year league. Didn't Jacksonville's weapons get better?
Yeah. And we had 9 different offensive line starts the whole year.
Guys get hurt, man. Like that's the thing. Like every team in the league can talk about if the injuries happened.
Like that year in after year in, and you know that.
So we're talking about the O-line. We're not talking about the weapons.
Does the O-line help the receiving core? Hell yeah, it does.
Andy, you're just arguing to argue. I'm saying they need to add weapons. You're arguing to argue. What's your problem? What's wrong with you, Andy?
The offensive line doesn't help the receiving.
Now you're just making up arguments to justify your silliness.
No,
like you're talking to yourself. The offensive line doesn't help the running backs. What? That's crazy. You're arguing with yourself. You're so thirsty to argue. You're arguing to argue, and then you're arguing with yourself, angry Andy.
No,
that's all you're doing. So the offensive line doesn't help the offense. Yeah, that's exactly what I said, Andy. Come on, brother. Go yell at a wall. Go yell at a damn wall, Andy. Get your ass off the line.
Appreciate the call in, Andy.
I love Andy. Shout out to
appreciate you calling in.
Shout out to Angry Andy here on In the Loop on Sports.
Dude, it's all funny. But yeah, that is that's the debate. Do they need weapons? I think we all agree on that, and I think even he does. And I think AAA, angry, argumentative Andy, I think he's making a lot of assumptions, which I think is the most dangerous thing to do. Like even like with CJ, like, can we assume that CJ is going to get better? Probably. Like I would bet on it, but you don't ignore his surroundings for the sake of that. And they've shown us that. I mean, they tried to get Saquon Barkley. They tried to get, Keenan Allen. They tried to figure it out. But yeah, shout out to Angry Andy. It's really not that it's not that serious. Like it's all fun going back and forth. And that's the beauty of this thing is, I mean, 45% of my dialogue when I wake up is about the Texans. It's serious, but I mean, Andy can yell and it's all funny. You saw us kind of laughing there. It's all love. But some people just want to argue. And then the best thing about it, and you guys all argue about sports. Hell, y'all tell me I'm a dumbass all the time. It's funny. The weirdest is when someone says something and then they start arguing it like you said it. Also, the offensive line can't make them better. Brother, I never said that, my friend. So I watch that. Sometimes whenever you just pulling back the curtain, because that's what we do in the locker room, especially on slow news days. Sometimes the worst thing that I have to do in my job, and I think it's important, is go listen to yourself. It sucks. But you watch it and sometimes you're like, man, well, I should have done this. No, I mean, there's times where you want to let them talk. Sometimes you got to counter real quick, especially if stuff's going like that. So it's all good. It's all in fun. Appreciate everyone for rolling through. And shout out to AAA, angry, argumentative Andy. Other news with the Texans, and I'm going to end it on kind of a hypothetical here in the locker room. Number one source for Texans digital content. Be sure to subscribe, like, and ride along and listen to Sports Radio 610. If you want to check out stuff like that. Ted says they upgraded at running back. I think they upgraded at the top. The depth, I think, is still a problem. You need multiple backs that you trust to make plays. I don't necessarily think that they have that. Leroy wants to bring in T. Higgins. That seems rather expensive. But who knows? And Cebu brings up a good point. Arguing over this stuff is way better than being embarrassed by our team and coach like in the past. Facts. 100%. Facts. Nick Caserio, he attended the University of Texas Pro Day. I would say this is perhaps one of the most important pro days to attend this year, especially with where the Texans are. From the defensive lineman Byron Murphy and Tavondre Sweat. Don't see Murphy falling to where the Texans currently are. Sweat, that's possible, although there might be some teams that fall in love with them. The receivers, Adonai Mitchell and Xavier Worthy, don't see them falling to where they are, but stranger things have happened. And then you have some other guys, a couple of linemen, and maybe some day three guys. I actually like Jordan Whittington a lot. I think if Whittington doesn't get drafted or if he's there in the 7th, I think he's the type of guy that they would like. Unrealized potential, can line up in the slot, can played running back in the past, real leadership type of dude. And just if you're ever bored and you want to see someone just dominate, you need to watch Jordan Whittington's high school highlights in the state championship game. Just one of the most ridiculous performances that you'll ever see. They're basically just snapping it to him and he's running through. But yeah, I like Whittington as a late prospect, but Sweat seems to be the popular guy right now when it comes to the conversation about potential Texas players. Caserio in attendance. Why is Steve the only one saying to turn the volume up? Steve, I think it might be your computer, my friend. I'm gonna have to put you in timeout. You're kind of spamming stuff, my friend. I feel like everyone else is kind of talking. It's kind of up right now, to say the very least. So Steve, I apologize for that. I'm gonna get out of here on this. We talked about departures and we've talked about moves. I'm starting to wonder if the Titans allege silliness, and I say allege because, again, this is my opinion. If the Titans alleged silliness will negatively impact the Houston Texans, and I say that bringing up the Calvin Ridley deal. I think if you polled 100 people and asked them what was the worst move of free agency, I think a large majority of them would say the Titans signing Calvin Ridley. The Jags got him at a bargain last year, paying him at 30 years old. It just seemed a little bit silly for the Tennessee Titans. And as a result of that, we saw the Jags use that money and go get Eric Armstead. And now they have, assuming that Armstead comes back and can play, they have Armstead. They have Walker, who, thank God it's not Aiden Hutchinson, and they have Josh Allen. So they have a pretty athletic D-line. And part of me wonders now is it possible that the Jags get in the wide receiver market? I know they went with Gabe Davis, but do the Jags sitting there in that area? And I think it's a home run opportunity. Again, I don't know who the wide receiver is going to be that ends up being the home run because we never do. Jefferson, I think, was like the 6th wide receiver taken in his class. And sometimes these guys flop. But what if we get in a situation where now, because the Jags didn't sign Calvin Ridley, they have Armstead on the D line, and then they decide they're going to take Adonai Mitchell or something like that out of Texas? I think it's something to keep an eye on. I truly want to see the snowball effect of what exactly the Jags are going to do as a result of the Calvin Ridley situation. I think the Jags, I could easily see the Jags winning the division next year. I could easily see the Colts winning the division next year. And I could see the Texans winning the division this year. I don't know what the hell the Titans are doing. So that's going to be really interesting to watch. And I just wonder if there's a little bit of a snowball effect in that initially it was the old Oilers / Titans signed Calvin Ridley. Then the Jags get Armstead. There's question marks about Armstead, but if he can still ball and you put him next to those guys, kind of the same impact that we thought he would have here, something to keep an eye on. Again, year-to-year league, contrary to the popular belief of AAA, angry, argumentative Andy, can't assume the best is yet to come. But I do wonder that move, how is that going to look? And maybe the Titans make fools of us all. I doubt it. Kind of seems like they just got a random $1,000 raise and they're just throwing money around. Be sure to subscribe, like, ride along. It is the Locker Room. Me and Cody Stutes got some stuff cooking for the draft. It's going to be really, really fun. And we want you to be a part of it per usual. Fun times, good debates, all that type of stuff. And always remember, when it comes to this Texan stuff, we're all in it together, even when we're not. Appreciate y'all. Have a good night. Talk to you on the radio shortly on Sports Radio 610.
Localize every angle's what we really do. We the source, we the pulse of the city too. Landlocked, got the game in the headlock. Localize every time, can't stop, won't stop. Yeah, we top 2 and we not too. Plugged in daily digital on YouTube. We got taste for days, opinions to give, we got takeaways. If it's up, then